As he walked in, it felt like he already knew what was coming. Just before the judge denied him bond, Lil Durk was trembling. His famous lawyer, whom fans believed could secure his release, argued for a $3 million bond. However, the judge delivered a harsh no, sending the rapper back to protective custody. Prosecutors claimed Lil Durk had a series of murders linked to him, leaving fans questioning if he would ever regain his freedom. Lil Durk's $3 million bond was denied. Held in custody since his October arrest, his legal battles took another blow during a December 12, 2024, hearing in a federal courtroom in Los Angeles. His attorneys seized the opportunity to challenge the murder-for-hire charges and request his release, but U.S. Magistrate Judge Patricia Donahue rejected the motion after considering both sides' arguments. Durk's legal team, including Drew Findling and Jonathan Brayman, described him as a talented artist, businessman, and philanthropist, deeply connected to his family and community. They proposed a bail package offering $1 million in cash from his label, Sony Music, and $2.3 million in equity from 2 properties. The package also included electronic monitoring, 24/7 security at a secure property, and the surrender of all his electronic devices. However, prosecutors argued against his release, citing him as both a flight risk and a danger to the community. They pointed out that he had tried to flee the country before his arrest and emphasized the strength of their evidence justifying his continued detention. The judge agreed, stating that no conditions could reasonably assure the community's safety. She added that, while Durk may not have pulled the trigger, he wielded significant control over others. After the ruling, Lil Durk was remanded into federal custody. The courtroom was filled with his family members, including his wife, father, mother, brother, and more than a dozen supporters, who watched as he was led away. Spending the holiday season in jail, Lil Durk's next court appearance has been scheduled for January 7, 2025, when his trial is set to begin. However, it's likely the trial date may be postponed. Despite the unfavorable ruling, Durk's legal team remains optimistic and committed to fighting the charges. Following the hearing, attorney Jonathan Brayman told Rolling Stone, "He's resilient, he's strong. We'll get the discovery and we'll continue the fight inside the courtroom." During the hearing, Brayman painted a picture of Durk's resilience, describing how the rapper overcame a troubled childhood through music, using it as a means to lift his family out of poverty. Brayman also denied allegations that Durk ordered a group of men to locate and kill rival rapper Quando Rondo, whose legal name is Tawan Terrell Bowman. Prosecutors allege Durk placed a bounty on Rondo's head as retaliation for the death of his close friend, rapper King Von. The indictment claims that Durk financed a group's travel from Chicago to Los Angeles, where they tracked Rondo for hours before opening fire at a gas station near the Beverly Center Mall in August 2022. While Rondo survived, his cousin, Sava Robinson, La Pab, was fatally shot. Prosecutors further allege that Durk sought to profit from the shooting by referencing it in his music. They highlighted lyrics from the 2022 song Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy, which reportedly include audio from a news clip of Rondo screaming "No, no" after Robinson's death. Attorney Drew Findling, who has represented high-profile figures such as NBA YoungBoy, Donald Trump, and Cardi B, strongly criticized the prosecution's use of Durk's lyrics as evidence. He called it a complete miscarriage of facts, arguing that the song was recorded months before the shooting. To support his claim, Findling presented a sworn declaration from the song's producer, stating that the track was recorded in January 2022, 7 months before the August 2022 shooting. "We have all the timestamps from the producer," Findling said, firmly disputing the government's narrative. Findling also refuted the FBI's claim that Lil Durk was attempting to flee the country when he was arrested with luggage near Miami Airport in October. The same day, authorities began arresting his alleged co-conspirators in the murder-for-hire case. An FBI affidavit stated that Durk had booked 2 one-way flights to Switzerland and Dubai but did not board either. He was ultimately arrested while preparing to board a private jet to Italy, Finling clarified that the confusion stemmed from Durk booking multiple flights as part of his travel plans to reach the United Arab Emirates, a destination he frequently visited for work and religious purposes. When Durk found that his original itinerary included economy seats with multiple layovers, he opted to book a private jet instead. The plan was to make a stop in Italy before continuing directly to the UAE. Finling argued that this did not indicate an attempt to flee and emphasized that prosecutors had yet to provide concrete evidence to justify the charges against Durk. Despite Finling's defense, the prosecution pushed back against any possibility of Durk's release, including house arrest and electronic monitoring. Assistant U.S. Attorney Ian Yanell argued that Durk was a significant threat, stating, "Mr. Banks wasn't the one pulling the trigger. He allegedly orchestrated the murder for hire. He greenlit the operation, including directing associates to book flights for 5 co-conspirators to travel to Los Angeles for the killing. He even instructed them not to use his name when booking the tickets." Meanwhile, developments in the case have also emerged regarding Kayvon Grant, one of the 5 individuals allegedly involved in the plot to kill Quando Rondo. On December 3, 2024, Grant's attorneys filed a motion requesting a protective order to shield sensitive evidence in the case. They cited concerns that releasing materials, such as witness statements, crime scene photos, and autopsy reports, could endanger witnesses. On December 4th, Judge Michael Fitzgerald granted the protective order, stating that such measures were necessary for the government to provide discovery materials to the defense. These materials include information about protected witnesses who contributed to the investigation, may testify at trial, or whose safety could be compromised by revealing their identities. Highlight in his affidavit that the text messages strongly suggested a financial link between Lil Durk and the individuals accused of carrying out the hit on Stephen Mack. This alleged connection has raised even more questions about Durk's potential involvement in violent activities beyond the current murder-for-hire case he is facing. As Lil Durk's trial approaches, the mounting allegations against him only serve to complicate his legal battles further. With evidence being pieced together from various sources, including lyrics, text messages, and witness statements, prosecutors appear to be building a case that portrays Durk as a central figure in a web of criminal activities. The rapper's legal team, however, continues to deny these claims, maintaining that any connections drawn from text messages or lyrics are purely coincidental and lack the concrete proof necessary for conviction. They argue that Lil Durk's music and public persona are being unfairly used against him as part of a broader narrative. Despite the ongoing challenges, Lil Durk remains in custody as the legal proceedings unfold, with fans and supporters closely watching for any updates. The stakes are higher than ever, and the outcome of his trial will likely have significant implications not only for the rapper's career, but also for his freedom, implicated in the current murder-for-hire case and linked to the killing of Stephen Mack. In the affidavit, Callahan emphasized that the message referencing "we waiting he comes up here on the 17th" was a clear indication that individuals were awaiting Lil Durk's arrival to finalize payment for Mack's murder. Further solidifying the connection, Callahan presented photographs of Lil Durk and Montgomery Wilson together, implying a close relationship between the rapper and the alleged perpetrators. The affidavit also drew attention to the lyrics in Durk's 2022 track, "Aha," suggesting that the song's content aligns with events surrounding Mack's murder. According to Callahan, the lyrics could reasonably be interpreted as a veiled reference to the incident, showcasing a disturbing trend of using music to indirectly confess to or glorify crimes. These allegations add to a history of legal troubles that have defined much of Lil Durk's career. Despite periods of apparent reform, his past is marked by multiple arrests and accusations, including weapons charges, probation violations, and even attempted murder. Although some charges were eventually dropped, as seen in the Atlanta shooting case, the rapper's repeated entanglements with the law paint a picture of someone unable to fully escape his circumstances. With these fresh allegations and mounting evidence, Lil Durk's reputation continues to polarize. While fans defend him as a victim of systemic bias and point to his philanthropic efforts, Critics argue that his actions perpetuate a dangerous cycle of violence within the hip-hop community. As the legal proceedings move forward, the stakes for Lil Durk could not be higher. His future, both as an artist and as a free man, hinges on the outcome of these cases, which will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on his career and personal life. And Quando Rondo dismissing Lil Durk as irrelevant in the streets. However, the feud between the two escalated to violent extremes following King Von's death, marking a turning point in their rivalry. Reports suggest that Lil Durk was deeply affected by the loss of King Von, whom he considered more than just a collaborator, but a brother. This personal grief reportedly fueled a desire for revenge, which culminated in the alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo and his crew. The August 2022 shooting that claimed the life of Rondo's cousin Lapab is believed to be a direct result of this escalating feud. Law enforcement has since tied this incident to a broader pattern of retaliatory violence, with investigators claiming that Lil Durk's crew, OTF, played a central role in orchestrating the attack. The arrest of Lil Durk and his associates marks a significant development in this ongoing saga. As prosecutors prepare to present their case, they allege that the rapper used his influence and resources to coordinate a violent campaign against his rivals, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Despite the serious nature of the allegations, Lil Durk's legal team remains steadfast in their defense, portraying him as a successful artist and community leader caught in a web of baseless accusations. However, with mounting evidence and multiple co-conspirators implicated, the stakes for Lil Durk have never been higher. As the legal battles continue, fans and critics alike are left to wonder whether Lil Durk will emerge from this unscathed, or if this marks the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's most polarizing figures.
Quando's a little boy. Well, I mean, that's his artist. I used to have him like this. You mean Quando? Saying 63rd. Me and Von.
Indeed, Quando Rondo and his crew outrightly dissed 63rd in a shared clip from his social media handle. This act of disrespect further fueled the rivalry between him and Lil Durk, as 63rd is a neighborhood strongly associated with Durk and his OTF crew. The ongoing tensions between the two camps have only intensified, with both sides using music and social media as platforms to throw jabs and escalate the feud.
And now we coming. We on 64. We got most of this. And we on 64.
Why this mattered to Lil Durk was because Von was associated with 63rd Street in Chicago's Parkway Gardens complex. However, Von later claimed that it was a rough area and that 64th was his true hood. The exchange between Lil Durk and Quando Rondo continued after King Von's death, but it was more than just bad blood between these two drill rappers, especially with the new details that have emerged. It seemed that Lil Durk's desire for revenge, or to slide for Von, intensified after his friend's untimely death, a sentiment that fans urged him to act on. The origins of this intense hatred go back further than the actual murder on that fateful night outside the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta. NBA Youngboy, the founder of Never Broke Again Records, had taken the then-rising artist Quando Rondo under his wing in 2018. At the same time, Lil Durk had welcomed King Von into his OTF, Only the Family crew. Von quickly bonded with NBA Youngboy's artists, including Quando Rondo, and became familiar with them. In fact, Von and Quando Rondo seemed to have a friendship, which was complicated by the fact that Von was a big fan of NBA Youngboy's music, even idolizing him. However, the relationship soured after Von and NBA Youngboy had a falling out. Von dissed Youngboy publicly, which created tension between them. Some fans believe that Von's comments on Instagram, criticizing Youngboy's music and efforts, were the turning point, marking the end of their friendship and setting the stage for the feud between the two camps.
Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
You talking crazy on this man.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Huh?
On his ass now.
On his
All that
ass.
cap. You got cap in your raps.
Made it even more personal by mocking King Von's death in various interviews and songs. His blatant disrespect for the deceased rapper only fueled the fire between the two camps. Quando Rondo's lyrics, including his infamous line about pissing on his grave and his feature with NBA YoungBoy where he dissed Von even further, stoked the flames of an already intense and violent rivalry. This behavior did not sit well with Lil Durk and OTF, who were still mourning Von's death and were seeking revenge. The escalating animosity between Quando Rondo and Lil Durk, fueled by personal attacks, diss tracks, and the tragic shooting at the Monaco Hookah Lounge, created a volatile environment. As the beef went public and the two sides continued their verbal and physical confrontations, it became clear that this feud was not just about music. It was about loyalty, respect, and revenge. The tragic events surrounding King Von's death and the ongoing battle between the two sides also brought more attention to the dangerous and sometimes deadly nature of the drill music scene, where rivalries often spill over into real-life violence. Fans, as well as the media, continued to watch the feud unfold, with each new diss track and online comment adding fuel to the fire, further entangling the artists in a cycle of retaliation and violence. Following King Von's death, Quando Rondo's public statements and actions, particularly regarding Tim's role in the murder, continued to fuel tensions with Lil Durk and OTF. In interviews and online posts, Rondo maintained a strong defense of Tim, referring to him as his brother and twin, emphasizing that he would do anything to protect him, even if it meant risking his own life. Rondo's support for Tim added a layer of animosity, especially as he continued to throw jabs at Lil Durk in his music, including in his 2024 track Could Have Been Me, where he referenced Durk's fallen friend and hinted at his disregard for the pain caused by Von's death. Meanwhile, OTF and Lil Durk were dealing with the grief of losing King Von and the pressure from fans, who continued to rally behind the idea of revenge with the Slide for Von movement. Fans, in their efforts to see justice for Von, urged Durk to take action, and this movement added an extra layer of stress on the rapper. While Durk initially downplayed the pressure, acknowledging that fans' comments about avenging Von bothered him, his reaction to the Slide for Von calls became more conflicted. In an interview with DJ Academics, Durk admitted that the intensity of the Slide for Von pressure had started to weigh on him, despite his earlier efforts to distance himself from the online campaigns. His statements revealed a conflict between honoring Von's memory and trying to maintain control of his own path, amid the growing animosity with Rondo and his camp. As the situation escalated, it became clear that the feud, both personal and public, was a defining moment in the careers and lives of the artists involved.
You used to say it, but you also mentioned a song. They be like, they be saying Slide for Von. I think they trolling me. Yo, by the way, them songs is fire. I ain't gonna lie.
For some reason, I just don't see them comments no more.
Following Lil Durk's arrest, many fans revisited a 2023 interview with DJ Academics and began connecting the dots, speculating that Durk had already avenged King Von's death, at least by ordering a hit on Quando Rondo. Although Rondo survived the shooting, the attack resulted in the death of his cousin, LP, leading some to believe Durk was the mastermind behind it. Fans pointed out Durk's comments in the interview, interpreting them as veiled admissions of his involvement, despite his apparent efforts to downplay the situation. Some online users believed Durk had inadvertently revealed his role in the crime, saying things like, "He was telling on himself every time he opened his mouth." These fans felt that Durk was making indirect references to his revenge for Von, which later appeared to align with the shooting of Rondo's cousin. The community's reaction to these comments was mixed, with some expressing admiration for Durk's loyalty, while others criticized him for appearing to jeopardize his future for street credibility. In the months leading up to his arrest, Durk had publicly distanced himself from his gang ties, embracing Islam and presenting himself as a changed man. He shared that he no longer identified with gang life, stressing his transformation into a man, father, and 100% Muslim. Despite his rebranding, Durk's legal troubles seemed to contradict his newfound faith and identity. His arrest and the surrounding speculation shocked fans, particularly those who had witnessed his apparent turn toward a more peaceful and devout lifestyle. Durk's situation took a further hit when the mayor of Broadview Village, Illinois, revoked the key to the city that had been given to him in recognition of his community work. The mayor cited concerns about the rapper's legal issues, emphasizing that while Durk was presumed innocent until proven guilty, the community held higher ethical standards. Durk, who had been denied bond on December 12th, now faces the possibility of a maximum sentence if convicted on federal charges, with life behind bars being a very real threat. This sequence of events, along with the public's intense scrutiny, adds layers to Durk's complicated persona as both an artist and a public figure.